A look at a polluted lake that neighbors say has been a problem for at least 3 years. Plus how transportation officials are planning to make area roads less of a headache for drivers when it rains. And a new affordable housing project is in the works where the developer is planning to build it. Your Suncoast News starts now.
You're watching ABC7 News at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Matter. Topping our news at 11, pollution may be to blame for the murky waters in a lake on Holmes Beach. People who live near there say it's not a new problem. ABC7's Rick Adams is there now. Rick, now just how bad is that lake look like?
Yeah, Jacqueline, it's hard to tell, but the lake is back there, and neighbors say it used to be crystal clear.
If you look at the water now, it's murky, it's cruddy, it's ugly to look at.
Bob McCaffrey is disgusted with the body of water that sits behind his home known as Spring Lake. It's a place where he's lived for 27 years. He tells us the lake used to be very clean and clear, where you would be able to see right to the bottom.
This used to be a beautiful area, and the fish and the birds and everything were just good to look at. Now we don't even look out our backyard.
McCaffrey says most of the fish are now gone. People who live here tell us back in 2015, 22,000 gallons of sewage from a pipe Manatee County owns had spilled into the lake, killing hundreds of fish. Residents say it's a lake that is now filled with mud and at times scum, which is continuing to harm marine life.
There's been all kinds of feces and everything floating all over the lake. If there was a cleanup, which the county says there was, it was so fast nobody saw it.
More than a dozen homes and a small park sit on the lake, which covers a few acres. It's situated between 68th and 70th Streets near Palm Drive in Holmes Beach.
The brown water behind us is a real problem. It should be cleaned up, in my opinion. Anna Maria is so pristine and so beautiful. To have the murky water in our backyard, really something I think should be done about that.
Many of the people who live here are pushing city officials to get environmental experts to take a look at the lake and figure out solutions to the problem. They're hoping that happens very soon. And no officials from the city or Manatee County could be reached for a comment. Reporting live from Holmes Beach this evening, I'm Rick Adams. Jacqueline, back to you.
Rick, thank you. Beaches in Sarasota County are a lot cleaner today thanks to the hard work of dozens of volunteers. More than 200 people woke up extra early today for the 5th annual Liberty Litter Cleanup. The volunteers picked up more than 122 pounds of trash and recyclables from 9 different area beaches. Well, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan for a look at our first alert forecast. I know he's been tracking some storms over the past few days. Bob, can we expect the same for tomorrow?
Well, I can tell you we're going to look at less activity tomorrow, but there'll still be storms around. It's just that kind of time of year, I think. We were looking more of a westerly wind. You see some of the showers, again, had a tendency to try to move back toward the coast. And with a westerly flow, there's a chance to see more inland storms. As we saw today, a lot of the storms were inland, but we got some coastal showers, too, and some pretty heavy rainfall at times in Venice, stretching down toward Inglewood and Northport. Right now, the rain is over. The good news is you can sleep comfortably tonight. Nothing to worry about in terms of any big storms brewing overnight. But boy, that swath of green that you see right there, that's all in excess of 2 inches all the way into Hillsborough. Tampa got hit the hardest tonight, but also down in Venice, in Inglewood, and in Northport. Some pretty impressive rainfall amounts in just less than about an hour and a half, 2 hours. 2.9 inches right there into just southeast of Venice, and you can see Northport getting over 1.5 inches. These are estimates from the Doppler radar site. Lesser amounts that kind of died as it went to the north end of Siesta, but near Turtle Beach, about a 1/2 inch of rainfall. And to the north, Palmetto, they had a 1/2 inch of rainfall there, and some areas had a little bit more, although the estimates sometimes don't get it totally right, but we did see some pretty heavy rain there from Palmetto, the north end of Bradenton. Now in the tropics, we are watching what could be the first hurricane of the season. We'll talk about Beryl coming up in just a few minutes. Jacqueline?
All right. Thank you so much, Bob. We'll talk to you soon. Well, the rain continuing to cause chaos for drivers navigating on flooded streets. FDOT says it is working on a solution, but flooding is not uncommon on US 41 and 10th Street in Sarasota. FDOT says yesterday's problem was made worse by debris that was clogging the drainage system.
Anything floatable or plastic or trash is just picked up instead of washed away with the rain.
FDOT says it is working on cleaning out the debris in the drainage system and checking pumps to make sure nothing was damaged. Nature's fireworks were the problem last night in Lakewood Ranch. A rare stroke of bad luck, a home struck by lightning. It all happened on Blue Runner Court around 6 p.m. The building went up in flames, and while there's only a crack and some damage shown on the outside, everything inside the home is gone. Firefighters say the roof may collapse at any moment.
Never heard of this before. Asked the fire chief, he said it was just a random occurrence. Could have been any home, just my luck.
The homeowner says he is thankful to have insurance and hopes everyone can use this as an example of why it's important, especially here in Florida, to have it. Northport police are reminding people that garbage cans are not launching pads for fireworks. Police tweeting out this picture today of somebody's unfortunate encounter with those explosives last night. They say it happens every year, but be warned, it is a $100 fine. Harvey Vengroff is back in Sarasota to revisit a project that he recently called quits on. The self-styled king of affordable housing was sick of jumping through hoops and hurdles that the city was putting in place, preventing him from providing lower-cost housing to those who need it. But now City Commissioner Hagan Brody is getting Vengroff to come back to the table after backing out of that development in January. The plan is for 8 acres of land on Fruitville Road to become 150 two-bedroom apartments that should house about 500 people with an average rent of $700. Vengroff already owns the land and says he's ready to reconsider the development because Brody has agreed to work with him on decreasing millions of dollars in building fees.
We're able to keep the rents low because our overhead was lower than some of our competitors. But, you know, unless you let people build affordable housing and take away a lot of the restrictions for that, you're not going to have affordable housing.
Well, it's not a done deal yet. Rezoning is needed and they must meet a deal when it comes to fees. Just days after a violent home invasion on Holmes Beach, police are starting a new voluntary home security program. Police are asking homeowners who have surveillance cameras to join a database and help fight crime in the city. Police say officers will not be able to access the video unless you give them permission. If you want to sign up, you can contact the Holmes Beach Police Department. A Bradenton man has been charged with vehicular homicide by the Florida Highway Patrol following a deadly crash in Northwest Bradenton. It happened just before 11 o'clock this morning on 9th Avenue Northwest and 75th Street Northwest. Troopers say 30-year-old Brandon Williams was driving recklessly on 75th Street when he tried to pass another car and lost control, hitting another vehicle. A 43-year-old man was killed. Witnesses describe what happened.
The reason why the cops got here so quick because that driver was on Manatee Avenue driving out of control, and people started calling. So by the time he got here, he clipped her and just made a continued domino effect.
The victim's 3-year-old daughter had to be airlifted to Bayfront Medical Center for treatment. Williams was taken to Blake Medical Center to be treated for minor injuries. An internal investigation by the Florida Highway Patrol results in the suspension of one of its troopers. Joshua Flo was issued a 24-hour suspension after the agency determined that he did not follow proper investigative procedures during a hit-and-run traffic incident. The situation involved Sarasota County Assistant State Attorney Jesse Weissman. In 2016, Weissman had been out with friends and reportedly got into 2 traffic crashes while driving home. Trooper Flo arrived on scene, and instead of taking pictures and investigating claims of DUI, he drove her home. A week later, Weissman was fired from her job. 2 boaters are lucky to be alive today after their boat capsized near Naples. Thanks to the Coast Guard and a Good Samaritan, the 2 men were saved after hanging onto their boats for about 2 hours. A helicopter was sent out and spotted the 2 boaters clinging to the hull of their boat. The Good Samaritan then came to help the 2 boaters get on his boat. Luckily, no injuries were reported. We're following up now on a city commission meeting in Northport today. Right now, food trucks within city limits are limited to just special events, but that could soon change. For 2 hours, commissioners discussed the technicalities of the proposed rule change. They ordered the proposer to make modifications to the language on their temporary use application. Once they make those changes to the language to the proposal, the commission can decide to approve.
I don't think we need a motion because we've already kind of given you your marching orders to come back. I know.
Commissioners are also looking at approving 2 artisan markets where vendors could sell things like Pampered Chef and LuLaRoe items. That motion was tabled for another day. Well, if you're making plans to hit the Venice Farmers Market this weekend, heads up, it will not be in its usual spot due to a major construction project going on in downtown Venice. This Saturday, the Venice Farmers Market will open at its usual time, but it will now be on Avenida de Park, which is west of City Hall. It runs from 8 o'clock in the morning until noon. Today is one of the busiest days of the year for animal service departments. Often, pets run off on 4th of July because they're scared of fireworks. Last night, 4 animals were found roaming the streets.
We're hoping to reunite them with their owners. When a pet comes into our facility, we take a picture of them, put them on our website, and we anticipate to see more come in throughout the day.
Now, if you see a lost pet, you can call Animal Services to report it for them to pick it up. And if you lost your pet last night, you can go to their website at mymanatee.org to check if it's there. And pet adoptions are only $4 until Saturday at the Manatee County Animal Shelter in Palmetto. They say they've reached critical capacity with more than 300 animals at the shelter. They're also offering free waived adoptions for first responders and veterans through the end of this month, and senior discounts that'll run through December 31st. Stay with us. Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan will be back with your first alert forecast, plus what lawmakers plan on doing to meet tomorrow's deadline to reunite immigrant families, and how a new Florida law will impact people who need opioid medication regularly.
My name is Luke Perry, and I am 1 million strong. I'm in the fight against colorectal cancer because I believe we can win it. Colon and rectal cancers are the second leading cause of cancer deaths among men and women in the U.S. Colon cancer is preventable. Know the risk factors and make sure to get screened. There are simple, take-home options available. Take control of your health. Screening for colon cancer isn't embarrassing. It can be life-saving. To find out more about your options, visit fightcrc.org.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was and some additional cancers that were not found during the biopsy. I would recommend the Dotoli Cancer Center. As a group of human beings, they are unbelievably great.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help with Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
Hello, I'm John Merce. Rugs As Art is celebrating yet another anniversary, and I would personally like to thank each and every one of you for the many years of continuous support. All during the month of July, we're having a grand celebration. We have flooded our showroom with yellow tag specials, meaning more discounts and more savings than ever before, plus free padding. So don't miss this anniversary celebration at Rugs As Art, Sarasota's bigger and better area rug superstore.
Soldiers in the Army National Guard live up to a set of time-honored principles.
I will always place a mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade.
Learn more at nationalguard.com.
Bob, as you mentioned in your first weather, you're tracking something in the tropics.
Beryl, yeah, we talked about Beryl. We posted it on mysuncoast.com. It came down at 3 o'clock. It became tropical storm. Second named storm of the season. Could become hurricane, the first one of the season. Kind of a unique area, too, this early on. We'll talk about that in a bit. Here's what's going on with our sunset tonight. Tower cam getting a shot of some clouds rolling through, some storms rolling through at times, but then things turned out to be really quite nice there. And the skies are starting to clear overhead, and it looks as though we will see another round of showers again tomorrow, but I think more so inland. Photos sent in, obviously, to pics at mysuncoast.com. Val always getting, look at this explosive thunderstorm that was developing in Sarasota tonight and creating those unusual clouds. And then the rainbow is always nice to see. A double rainbow at that. What does it mean? Mark Bruce sending this in from Heritage Oaks. That's an old line. What does it mean? Anyway, Siesta Key, Fred Seeger with the Guard Tower and the sun just peering through some of the breaks in the storms there. And Lori also sending a nice photo. And we got tons of them tonight. Just a spectacular sunset out there. A few showers remaining mainly offshore. Not much going on with that. We can see a little bit of light rainfall still lingering in Hillsborough County, where it came down pretty heavy, over 3 inches of rainfall near Tampa and elsewhere. There were heavy showers and storms in eastern Hillsborough County, as well as into East Manatee, Sarasota, and western portions of Hardee and DeSoto County. Well, what's happening? A little line of low pressure has been left behind from this low pressure that brought us all the rain over the past couple of days. And then we see another well-distinct low pressure center that's dropping a little bit further south. To keep an eye on that. That may give us a little bit better chance for some scattered storms that could be a little stronger. But the last one that passed through was right over north central Florida. This one's going to go over North Florida. Well, the forecast model indicating we may see a few morning showers late morning, early afternoon with the sea breeze developing, and then inland storms later on in the afternoon. This west wind is a transition now. We're going to see a westerly wind flow through the most of the day. It will be light, though, so the storms will be moving very slowly. And then late at night and into the early morning hours, we'll see some of those storms try to work their way back to the outflow boundaries. And then again in the morning, a possibility of a few showers. We saw that, but then by the afternoon on Saturday, it looks like the main focus will be inland, although we'll have to keep an eye on that low pressure area. It may enhance storms a little bit on Saturday. Well, in the tropics, we have our second named storm of the season. It's way out there in the deep tropics, really quite south too in latitude. On top of that, there's not many storms that have developed before August 1st in terms of Atlantic-based hurricanes, and this one certainly may be that here in July. There's been two. Bertha in 1996 was one of those, and then again, we have had this storm system move off to the west and develop rather quickly. Here are the latest now. 65-mile-an-hour winds. Those are up. It could get to hurricane status tomorrow. And then conditions will become much more unfavorable for development. In fact, a lot of the models kind of break this up before it even reaches the islands, but it would be a strong tropical wave or possibly tropical storm as it makes its way through Sunday late and into early Monday. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. It's unusual that it's developing in waters where the water temperatures are into the upper 70s. You don't normally have that. In fact, about 5% of the storms only develop when the water temperature is that cold. We're also watching an area here of disturbed weather south of Bermuda, but will have no impact on Florida's weather. Well, as far as the forecast goes for boating tomorrow, looks to be pretty quiet out there with the exception of a few isolated storms. Seas will be running less than 2 feet and smooth conditions on the bays and inland waters. Now, as far as the forecast goes, a 40% chance for scattered storms. The timing will change, obviously in the morning on Saturday, early afternoon, and then mainly inland. Same story on Saturday. So Friday and Saturday the same, and then maybe more afternoon storms on Sunday. Well, this 6-year-old had a thrill of his life on board with Captain Scott Moore and one of his friends also fishing. He reels in a big, big fish. Now, I put up quite a battle for 6-year-old Kellen Hunt. And Cortland Hunt, his father, sending this video in. He just got back, by the way, from a fishing trip offshore. His son does a lot of fishing. Look at that. That is a huge barracuda, much bigger than Kellen. Look, he lies down there, shows the size of it. And then Captain Scott Moore from Moore Charters throws that one back in. You gotta be careful. They got some huge teeth on him right there, but he had a lot of fun. Again, Kellen is a heck of an angler. He's got some good prodigy there.
Yeah.
We have got some pictures to show you now of some fish that have been caught recently here across the Sun Coast, and a lot of those fish are pretty big. You got to look at this one here. That is a huge redfish, and Captain Trey Dietz of Baywalker 2 taking his client out there, catching that big red. And then Breakwater Charters, Captain Brian Marcy Christy catching this, her biggest snook she's ever caught right there, and that's a huge snook. Obviously not snook season, but you got to throw them back. And then Coach Steve Herrick of Beach Fishing Adventures on Lombo Key catching a nice, not him, but his client. And then there's Captain Brian Marcy again with a big red.
All right, thank you, Bob. We have some breaking news into our newsroom tonight out of Thailand. You're looking live at the ongoing rescue of the soccer team that's been stuck in the cave there. We're now getting reports from Thai authorities that a Navy SEAL working to rescue those boys has died from lack of oxygen in that cave. We'll have more details as this story develops both on air and online. New numbers today from the Health and Human Services Department regarding the number of immigrant children separated from their parents at the border. Some families have already had emotional reunions, but we're now learning nearly 3,000 children remain separated. ABC's Natalie Brunell tells us more about the court-ordered deadline to reunite those families.
In Chicago Thursday, the latest emotional reunion of one family at the center of the nationwide controversy of immigrants separated from their children.
Extremely happy. I just want to take my son home, put him in school, find myself a job.
But hours earlier, HHS Secretary Alex Azar revealing almost 3,000 children remain in the government's care, a number considerably higher than the roughly 2,000 reported by the agency last month. Azar describing the situation as unprecedented and promising a compassionate process. A federal judge back on June 27th ordered the government to reunite families within 30 days, children under 5 within 14 days. For some, including this Guatemalan mother of 3, a reunion didn't happen for several months.
Gracias a Dios los encontré en buenas condiciones.
Thank God I found them in good conditions.
But the conditions have been heavily criticized, sparking demonstrations across the country. Outrage over images of children in detention centers and cages wrapped in foiled blankets, and many questions remain about just how the remaining children will be reunited with their families. HHS officials say they're conducting an exhaustive review of cases to determine which children in their custody have been separated and are even using DNA testing to verify family members. Natalie Brunell, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Scott Pruitt, the head of the EPA, is out. This after months of reports of ethics scandals and impropriety. Pruitt was instrumental in implementing President Trump's agenda, including scaling back several Obama-era policies on climate change and pollution standards. Outside of his administration policy duties, Pruitt was facing at least 14 federal investigations regarding his spending, management, and ethics.
I don't think it was one thing that tipped the scales. I think the cumulative impact of everything he had done that violated ethical standards was just too much.
Pruitt has denied any wrongdoing. Moving forward, a deputy director and former coal lobbyist Andrew Wheeler will serve as acting administrator. And in regards to the Pruitt probes, the Office of the Inspector General says any pending OIG reviews will continue. A new state law now in effect will make it more difficult for doctors to prescribe opioids for more than 3 days. Starting on July 1st, doctors can now only prescribe Schedule II opioids like hydrocodone for 3 days at a time or 7 days in special cases. Doctors will also have to check a state database of controlled substance history for each patient that they prescribe. This could mean more doctors' visits and higher healthcare costs for patients.
At the beginning, there's no question there is going to be more work, but we have to do something anyway, and we are all in the middle of this situation, and a little bit of work is going to be okay.
These prescription limits are only for treating acute pain caused by trauma, surgery, or illness. Those with prescriptions for chronic pain issues will not be affected by the law. Sports is next, but first, here's what's coming up on Jimmy Kimmel.
And Jamie Foxx is here.
The whole place went up in flames.
His daughter drops by.
Yeah, I have the best dad in the world.
Plus the gleeful Glenn Powell. Kimmel, tonight on ABC.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to mesobook.com.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, and you're struggling to pay your bills while your case is dragging on, that's where Oasis Financial comes in. Only Oasis has Oasis Express Cash that can get you from $500 to $25,000 in as little as 24 hours, faster than anyone else. There's no risk and no out-of-pocket cost.
It was so simple. I made one phone call. Oasis was able to give me the money within 24 hours.
To pay for my electric bill, my rent, and my groceries for my children.
And even if you end up losing your case, Oasis lets you keep the money, so there's absolutely no risk to you. You don't have to worry about repaying Oasis.
If I had lost my case, then I wouldn't be responsible for paying the money back. And that was a blessing.
Oasis, they killed it, man. They helped me out. They gave me my life back.
See how much money you can get before your case settles. Call Oasis Financial, because life moves faster than your case. 1-800-874-8185. 1-800-874-8185.
Hurricane season is here, and so is the official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. This essential resource arms you with vital information you need to protect your family and property when severe weather threatens the Suncoast, including how to create your readiness plan and survival kit, shelter locations, what to do with pets, and important phone numbers. Visit mysuncoast.com and download the official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. Brought to you by Batteries Plus, the Florida Lottery, and Sarasota Glass and Mirror.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Now, sports.
A former Manatee High School football star is switching sports. Cord Sandberg announcing on Twitter that he's leaving professional baseball and will now try his hand at college football. Sandberg was a third-round pick of the Philadelphia Phillies in 2013, not long after leading Manatee High School to a state football championship. After 6 seasons in baseball and not getting past AA ball, Sandberg says he wants to pursue another dream and go back to football. Before being drafted by the Phillies, Sandberg had committed to play for Coach Dan Mullen at Mississippi State. Mullen is now at Florida, and that could be where the former Manatee star ends up. Wimbledon second round, number 3 Marin Cilic taking on unranked Guido Pella. The 5th set, Pella was up 6-5. Cilic serving with a game point, but Cilic shanks an easy forehand to keep the game alive. 2 points later, it was match point for Pella. Cilic misses a sitter forehand into the net. Pella wins in 5 sets in comeback fashion. Cilic, the highest ranked male to bow out so far. That's a look at sports. We'll have tonight's winning lotto numbers straight ahead.
So I kind of grew up all across the country. I come from 5 generations of military men. My dad is still active duty. My grandpa is retired Marines. I like going for runs with my dog. I love, taking her out to the dog beach over in Venice. There are so many things here to do on the Suncoast. My goal every day when I come into work at ABC7 is to tell your stories, give you that major local news and those details that you really care about. I'm Jacqueline Matter, and I'm here for you.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate.
But the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. Dot Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
The Florida Lottery winning numbers are sponsored by Frontier Fios.
Well, some New York Police Department officers had some fun on the job on this 4th of July holiday, singing carpool karaoke. They were inspired by, of course, James Corden's show Carpool Karaoke. That video is now going viral on Facebook and actually challenging a lot of other police departments and sheriff's offices across the country.
Yeah, I really like
part.
those. Those are fun. Always go viral as well. And got to look at this. I'm going to show this picture. Another nice rainbow by Joseph Walsh right there, Sarasota Clark Road, and I-75. And Heritage Harbor. Said Heritage Oaks, but Heritage Harbor, Mark Bruce, with a double rainbow. That's hole number 9 right there, by the way.
All right. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening.